Does Saliva vocalist Bobby Amaru think that the return of Josey Scott to the stage with Saliva is going to mark the end of his time in the band? We'll find out on this episode of Chris Akin Presents. It is Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Akin, and I am going to be presenting one of my more favorite bands right now, one of the bands that I loved in the late 90s and into the 2000s and into the 2022s. Still love them. Great band. They have a brand new single called Revelation Man. Of course, the band is Saliva, and joining us to talk a little bit about this single is the vocalist of the band, Mr. Bobby Amaru. Bobby, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Sure, man. Love what you're doing with this. Love the single, man. And although I have to think that this single for you, probably especially, maybe the hardest single you've ever put out there, because it really jabs at your own self, more or less. Fair?
Yeah. The thing with this record is there's going to be a lot of that.
Okay.
Because of recovery, becoming sober, and that whole thing. And it's crazy because I started thinking about like the 10 Lives record, and when I look at some of the lyrics of those songs, and it's a guy who's going through stuff and struggling, but there's no outcome. There's no overcoming that. And I think that at least with this record, it feels like there's like a rebirth of someone. And also there's just a lot of things that I think could be relatable to people that struggle with addiction and go through things, and like Revelation Man is kind of that whole having to hit rock bottom and basically go to hell to come back and,
Sure.
and be a better, to find the better life and the better, version of yourself.
No question, man. Well, I gotta ask you, Bobby, the getting clean, dealing with addiction, it's a day-to-day deal.
Yeah.
And obviously the rock and roll lifestyle, being on the road, being in the bars, there's not a worse place you could try to tackle it than in the rock and roll world. It's just not conditioned for that. So how do you avoid the pitfalls of the road and keep the bad elements away from you and, and continue to work on it, as you go forward?
Yeah. I think it was, when I got clean and I just stuck with it. I was like, I'm just going to do this, but I'm not going to preach it to anybody else. They
Sure.
can want to do. And, I just know for me, it doesn't work anymore. And
Right.
I've got to figure out how to better my life, for my kids, for the future, and my wife, and that whole thing. So really and now though, most everybody is sober on the boat.
Okay.
It's great,
Sure.
So it's a lot easier you start to see your hospitality rider dwindle down in booze. You see 3 handles of different booze. It was like Tito's, Fireball, Crown,
Right.
handles. If you play 4 or 5 nights a week, that means you're getting that every night. And
Oof.
now there's a Coors Light, water. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's really no hard stuff anymore on the hospitality, which is, I guess, who would have thought?
Sure. When you look at it now, do you look back and wonder how you did it night to night? Because, I mean, I've been around enough bands to know a lot of bands like to party before the shows and then, or even after the shows, but then try to recover the next day and it doesn't work. Do you look back and say, God, how did I make it this many years doing this?
Yeah. For me, I would always start drinking about an hour before we would play. So,
Okay.
And let me tell you this is actually kind of funny. And we would do certain tours, and that would be like headline dates, right? So
Sure.
you get at 10:30 at night, so then you party afterwards and you're up till 2, 3, 4 a.m. you wake up. And one thing I will say is I never would drink during the day. I would never wake up and drink. I wasn't one of those drinkers. I would literally start an hour before. So that was the routine. Cause if I were to drink at noon, good luck singing that night. It wasn't going to happen. Sure. So, but there were certain tours that we would do where we were supporting. So we'd go on at like 8 o'clock. Dude, I'm in bed by midnight, 1, cause I'm just blitzed, you know, what I mean? Cause I'd start drinking at 7, dude. There's no way that I can make it that night, you know? So, but yeah, everybody has their own thing and their own, what they like to do, you know, on the road. And, you know, luckily for me, I just, you know, found a way to just kick it and never look back.
Sure. Did you have people that fought you on it? And you don't have to name who they were, but I know as well as anybody. Look, I've gone this battle. I won't tell you I'm clean. I'm not. I mean, I'm clean, I guess, but I'm not. I do drink now and again, but I've had my bouts with it too, where it's, you know, drinking a fifth a day for 6 months at a time. You know, I've played this game a little bit too, to where I get it, and I know when you try to quit, there seems to be people that come out of the woodwork and they're like, you're not as fun anymore. You're not, you know, I don't want to hang out with you because you'll judge me. You know, even if you're not making judgments, people think that you are. Have you found those people in your life that are a little weird with you?
No, I mean, everyone's been super supportive. I mean, I'm kind of a recluse anyway. So, if those people didn't want to be judged or whatever, maybe they just removed themselves without me realizing it or knowing. I don't know, but I never really had a problem with anyone saying, "Oh man, you should drink," or "Why are you not doing that?" Or, you know, everyone's usually pretty supportive, especially like these days. I think you see a lot more sobriety than you would ever think.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I've had support from everywhere, man. My band, you know, included. You know, they'd feel like, "Hey, man, we'll drink one for you," you know, or whatever it is. It's just, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Exactly. I think in the end, the band guys, especially, they just want to see you healthy, because if you're not healthy, then you ain't helping. So, you know,
right. And our drummer he's a year sober now too.
Oh, great.
And he's been, you know, he said he loves it, and you know, been trying to get Wayne to kick the fireball a little bit, but you know, Wayne doesn't really drink a lot anyways. And then he would say that, you know, there was 20 years I didn't drink at all. Like, so it's only within the past 5 or 6 years did he pick up, when he discovered Fireball for some reason. Was like, was that, you know, what he liked. I don't know if the cinnamon, what it made him feel. I'm like, dude, you really drinking like straight sugar, like it's like gasoline with sugar, you know? So, but yeah, that's like no longer on the rider now too. So he's kind of kicked that, and you know, just right zero for him.
Right. Awesome, man. Well, Bobby, it's one thing to do it for yourself, and that's great. And as you know, as a band, not just yourself, but you know, your band guys and whatever. It's another thing to put it out there. And I'll just tell you another quick story. I went through just a really messy, emotional divorce. And I wrote a book about it, and I put it all out there. And the level of question, I was never upset about it, but the level of questions and the continual level of questions was kind of, you know, it's like, okay, I kind of want to close this chapter of my life, and maybe I did the wrong thing by sharing it, you know, because I mean, 10 years ago, and I'm still answering questions about it. For you, are you comfortable with putting this piece of your life out there to be criticized and to be, you know, evaluated by people that really don't know you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, you know, it might help somebody, even if it helps one person, you know. I've had people personally message me and ask me about what I did, or what you know, they wanted to get sober too, or, you know, so I think it's it's nothing negative at all. It's just, it can only do positive, you know?
Sure.
I'm not one that's like, hey, everybody, here I am. I'm, you know, 3 years, 97 days and 2 hours sober. You know, I don't really do that. I mean, I have my landmarks of my years and stuff, but I don't, I think it's kind of like, I'm just living my life, you know.
Sure.
I've got my family, and the music stuff is great, and you know, touring and playing shows for people who care about rock and roll is awesome too. So it's, you know, I think, you know, this is what the song's about. It's what the record's about. It's about
Sure.
my personal stuff that I went through, and if it helps somebody, then I did something good.
Sure. You know, the weird thing about the counting, you know, the people, the guys that always say, yeah, I'm 4 years, 8 days and 36 minutes or whatever, you know, I always look at that as people counting down to the next slip instead of adjusting to being their lifestyle. You know, it's like they're
Right.
keeping track, like they're looking to reach a milestone in
Well,
order to fall off.
I think, though, I mean, there are people that I think that's their way of letting people know that they
Okay.
are too. And it's almost like an accomplishment for them, especially
Sure.
if people were doing some dark shit, man, and doing some, cause you know, with alcohol, I mean, people do really stupid decisions, make stupid decisions and stupid choices on it. You know, I mean, at least I know I did, you know.
Sure.
You just it never leads to anything positive.
Right.
It never does. It always leads to arguing with your spouse, arguing with another dude, and then fighting or whatever, and turns into just stuff that you end up the next day going, man, why the hell did I do that? Or what was I thinking? Or, you know, there are people that are in prison because of alcohol. You know, they made a stupid decision and decided to drive, and then maybe killed somebody or whatever. And it's just unfortunate that's you know, it's
That's
just,
where,
yeah.
right.
But it's like, what do you do? I mean, you have to do what's best for you and what you feel is going to make you happy in life. And
Right.
I do that when people say, like, because I'm one of those that I will say, like, when I hit 4 years, I'm going to say 4 years sober.
Sure.
Never thought I would say that. You know, it's that kind of thing where you feel like, 10 years ago, there's no way in hell I would have thought that I would end up just stopping.
Sure.
And
No.
I think it can be a positive for people that actually want. Maybe some people do seek for that person to say, I'm proud of you, or
Sure.
bravo, man, that's amazing, because it is amazing, and it's a positivity for people to, you know, it's creating that awareness that, hey, I'm not judging you, I'm just letting you know this is what I do. And
Right on.
so.
Well, man, let's talk new music, because I don't want to turn this into just a straight AA meeting, but you know,
And I haven't done any of those, so I kind of feel like, man, I can talk about this for an hour, you know.
it's all good. Well,
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the new music. Obviously, we have Revelation Man, which is you know, the first taste that we've had of something new in a while. So, where are you guys at with the album? Is it done? Is it in the process? Where are you at?
Dude, we've had a bunch of songs done when all the COVID stuff started. Like,
Right.
dude, I made a solo record that's done. I made another project record that's done. Like, we did Saliva, a record. We redid the songs for the Every 6 Seconds,
Right.
which we did last year. Dude, we made a covers record that's done. Like, we have a lot of stuff, but really it was just, what are we going to release? What are we going to do? I was like, well, it's been a few years, so it's probably time that we put out a new record. But this time, let's actually try to promote it, you know?
Right.
And try to, like, you know, let people know, hey, we are here. We do have new music, and you know, it's, I don't want to say that it's tough because it's very easy for your band to, with social media and stuff today, to market your record and do sort of thing. But we've always felt lately that we've just been burned on a few of our previous deals with labels. So it was like, okay, do we want to sign another one of these and make nothing, or do we want to maybe just do a distribution deal and then focus on promoting it ourselves? That way we can potentially make something. You know, and what we did on the previous records where you just sign those deals where you're like, okay, well, we're not really getting anything out of this.
Right.
And that's just the nature of the business, man. It's always been that way, and it's never going to change. There's just finding new ways and new revenue streams for you know, to cash in. But you know, aside from that, what we wanted to do was we wanted to focus on pushing radio and pushing, you know, this new record and you know, marketing it properly and bringing in the team that kind of does this in the rock world. And yeah, I think we're stoked. I mean, you know, to release new music for the fans and into the rock and roll community and see what happens, man. These days you're throwing it against the wall, man. See what's
right. Sure. No. Well, dude, with that, what's the timeline? I mean, is there a timeline for an actual release, or is it like fall? Or
it was supposed to be summer, and then I think that turned into early fall.
Okay.
So we were like, well, why don't we just like release a song, which we released Revelation Man, which we actually have a video for that coming out next week, I think.
Okay.
And then, but that's not even the song that we're going to radio with. We're going to radio with another song called, that actually we're stoked about. This song is it's a great fucking song, man. So, but you know, that's just, I don't make the rules here. We're just kind of seeing what happens. Because there are a lot of people that hit me up, a lot of radio guys. Hey man, I can't find the song. What's going on here? You know, I'm like, well, I don't know. It's confusing, but we just wanted to drop a song and drop a video and you know, for the fans and just for the internet to see to try to build some momentum.
Sure. Well, and you almost have to do that these days, because what's the saying? Here today, gone later today, man. You got to kind of keep people aware.
Yeah, that's true. And I do think that we've slacked on that for a while, where we weren't really releasing songs like we should have. You know what I mean? Like some of these songs on this record were done 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just, and man, but we could have dropped a song 2 years ago or a year ago. We didn't, and we can't look back and, you know, think about that. We just kind of focus on the future and then where we're headed. And, you know, we got a bunch of shows this year. We're about to release a whole tour schedule for June.
Okay.
And, you know, we'll be pretty busy.
Sure. I want to go back to last year for a minute, Bobby, just because you mentioned it about you released every 20 years, which was kind of like the re-records of every 6 seconds. How were you personally doing that? I mean, everybody knows that those are Josey's tunes, and now you're doing them. You know, are you comfortable kind of living off of the past of the band instead of focusing more on your era with the band?
So that kind of came from a lot of the fans, and a lot of people would always say things like at our shows, or when you meet someone, you know, at a show, they would always say, man, are you ever going to release like some of the old stuff with your voice on it? Or, man, we'd love to hear like maybe one song or so with your voice on it. Or, you know, we would get that a lot. And I think we were trying to toy around with something for the 20-year deal.
Sure.
And they, you know, they had dabbled with the idea of getting back together and doing like a tour and doing some stuff. And it looked like that was going to happen. And I was all for that. I was like a fucking advocate for that. And I want to let people know that, like, I was like, hell yeah, I think this will be great. for the fans and stuff. And then I think it just got weird. Like
Okay.
it got weird with certain camps. It was like, yeah, let's do this. This is going to be awesome. And then next thing you know, there's like different managers and different agents and different people like contacting Wayne and the band. And it's kind of like, wait a second. What we've been doing the past like 9 years, I don't want to just throw that in the trash.
Right.
I think that was Wayne's deal. So it just didn't line up. It didn't work out. And that's just the truth. I mean, anyone can tell you anything else, but that's what happened. I mean, the timing wasn't right for that. And it would have been great because it was 20 years. It would have made total sense.
Sure.
But certain people, I don't know. They just couldn't get on the same page.
Sure. Well, they are doing one show, aren't they? That Blue Mountain thing. Did I not read that there's one show with Josey that they're doing
in September? Yeah, but so I'm doing that show too.
Oh, are you? Okay.
So what we're doing is we're taking the approach of kind of like what Killswitch Engage did, and like where you'll feature basically 2 singers. So you'll have me. I'm going to start the show. And then, I don't really want to give away what we're going to do, but
sure.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be cool. That was another thing. I had the promoter reached out to me, and I know John, he had asked me last year about doing something for the 20th anniversary. And I was like, man, I don't think it's going to make sense, or it's not going to work out. And I think Josey had just lost his son and stuff too. So it was just not but yeah, so it's going to happen. And just so people are aware, it's both singers, but I'm going to do my thing. He's going to do his thing. And I think it's great. It's going to be awesome. Killswitch has been doing that too. They've been crushing it.
Sure.
I think so. I think for, it's keeping both sides happy, and it's good.
Sure. And there are a lot of bands that are doing it, kind of bringing the nostalgia thing in. I know Dokken goes out there and George Lynch comes on at the end of his show and plays a couple of songs. And like you said, Killswitch and Halloween has the multiple singer thing going as well. So it can work as long. I'll tell you where it doesn't work, and you tell me that it's not going to be a problem. I'll put it that way. Where it doesn't work is when the internet trolls get going crazy and they start on Twitter with, oh, we got to get him back, or they're going to throw Bobby out, or, and that's going to come. It just is the way of the world. So
right.
Do you just avoid the social media for that week and the week after so that it dies away?
Yeah,
or
we never really focus on the social media stuff and the aspect. And I think with this show, I mean, we're doing one show. We'll see what happens, and if our agent gets blown up with, let's do 20 next year. Okay, cool. We'll figure that out when that happens. But if it, for now, I think that the focus is to go out there and just deliver an hour of full blown Saliva rock and roll, man. And just, I think that it's only positive. We're only looking at this as a positive. And I know Josey's stoked to get on stage and play, and for the fans. I mean, yeah, it's been a long time.
Right.
I mean, I don't think he's like, come on, let's go do a world tour. I think it's, he's got his family, he's got his stuff that he's doing too,
Sure.
at home. But I think getting out there, coming on stage and talking for the fans of, Saliva and the rock and roll community in general, it's going to be nothing but positive, man. I think it's going to be great.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, the new single that people could check out as they wait for the full album to get out here, or the full release, is called Revelation, man. It is Saliva. And Bobby, where should we tell people to go to check out the single and keep up with you guys and tour dates and all that kind of stuff?
Saliva.com, salivaofficial.com, Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Just Google it.
Spotify. Apple Music, you know, all that stuff. What happened to the days where it was like, hey man, you just go to the vinyl store, man, and just pick up the record, you know?
Dude, you are preaching to the choir here, man. I miss that.
Yeah. Twitter, Napster, you know, all these gotta name off like 20 different you know, places you can get music now. It's just unbelievable.
It is. It's a different world, man, but it's a good world as long as Saliva is creating music. Like I said, the new song is out there now. It's called Revelation Man. It is Saliva. And Bobby, thanks so much for joining me on here on Chris Akin Presents.
Thanks, Chris, man. I appreciate it.